It's Monday. You guys know the vibes. The Flex Zone Podcast, episode 479. Always keeping it divine. Another illustrious guest closing out our wonderful Black History Month celebration, sports and blackness. He's going to tell you all about the great work he's doing for the student athletes. And he's got a new book that you might want to put your 2 eyes or 4 eyes on and read and gain some knowledge. We got to talk about the combine. That's this week. The big news of the week. And the Lakers with Luka and LebBron finally beat their biggest nemesis. It's the Flex Zone episode 479. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell. Want to hear from you. Vote on the poll. Who is the NBA MVP so far? Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's go live. Episode 479. Let's go.
In the noisy confusion of life,
Oh, wow. More exciting than me having the screen messed up, but more exciting than the Underwear Olympics coming up this week in Indianapolis. We know it's Roger's favorite time of the year. Our favorite time of the year as we get ready for the NFL draft. It is the Flex Zone Podcast. Only place fellas giving you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
Episode 479. Keeping it divine. Closing out our sports and blackness series yet again. If you were with us for the Monday Night Raw stream, thank you for joining us. The flagship podcast, episode 479. We got some wonderful discussions to get into with our illustrious guests. A little bit about the NFL Combine, and we will talk about those Lakers with Luka and LeBron. And are they banning the Tush push? We'll get into that. And, of course, we get goofy with Cravante. Should be a fun time later on with, I'm sure, with what he has. But can't do the show alone. God's favorite host, yours truly. Twitter, Instagram, the Flex Zone 1. And, of course, Flex Zone Podcast. Throw your ones up. Acknowledge us as we are the head of the sports podcast table. Batting lead off, the social media guy, the one who makes the streams pristine. Big Raj, fresh from killing his workout. He's ready to kill these sports topics. Big Raj, what's going on, my guy? How you feeling?
No bread, no water, just me.
that's one big son of a bitch!
Finish him, Daddy.
Finger licking good special. That's what I'm talking.
You need the dogs? Need the dogs again? You need
No, I don't need no damn dogs.
No dogs?
Okay. No dogs. I don't need no meat. I don't need anything like that. It's almost 11 o'clock. So, last week of February, the Underwear Olympics is coming. Can't wait to see people run and jump and do all those great things in a couple days.
Next up is the captain of the Goofy Ship, the voice of reason, and the man who tells them my heavens. Cravante, the Wizards got to win tonight, and we're still riding high on those commands.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Commanders. Commanders. We fight for RDC. Who are we? The Commanders. Commanders.
Stupid. Just stupid. Well, now that's goofy. Jam. Oh, jam.
Monday night.
Indeed. We here. I'm not gonna make this too long because, like Rod said, it's a little late. You understand what I'm saying? I hate that y'all always show up in front of company. Y'all always play that damn song in front of company, man. I tell you. At least you didn't play the other one because I guess the Wizards won, so I guess he can play that one.
Couldn't play it tonight.
Hey, look, man, it's your theme song at this point. Embrace it.
I guess, man. I guess.
Last but not least, the Flex Zone OTC, Mr. DRE. And you know he's always telling you how much we love Drizzy Drake.
Fatu, the Samoan werewolf. I love you solo. Acknowledge me.
Hey, man, just like the rest of the fellas, I'm ready to just hop into this. We have an incredible guest tonight.
Incredible is an understatement. His brother's up late with us. He's got everything all tuned in. So shout out to everybody from the wonderful McNair Foundation on all the social media platforms. We see you. Shout out to you, wonderful people. But I guess if you don't know, it's in the title, but we're going to tell you anyway. It is the illustrious Marty McNair. He is joining us tonight to close out our Sports and Blackness series. You may know the name, but I'm going to tell you about the man himself, Marty McNair, the thought leader, motivational speaker, advocate, and author of Can My Child Play? The Questions We Should Have Asked, and The Fifth Quarter, A Parent's Guide to Preparing Student Athletes for Life Beyond the Game, is the founder of the Jordan McNair Foundation and has become one of the nation's leading voices on student athlete safety, personnel, parental advocacy, and life beyond sports. Following the unfortunate tragic loss of Jordan to a preventable heat-related injury during collegiate athletics at the University of Maryland, Mr. Marty McNair turned his pain into purpose through his foundation, his wonderful literary books, and powerful speaking engagements. He educates parents, coaches, and student athletes on the importance of player safety, mental health, awareness, and self-advocacy. Marty's work has been featured on One in America, CNN, ESPN, SportsCenter, and Sports, and he continues to push for systematic change in athletic safety and education. I hope I did a good job representing the great brother there. Welcome for the first time, hopefully not the last time, to the Flex On Podcast, the McNair Foundation's own, the one and only, the king himself, Mr. Marty McNair. Put your hands together, everybody, and welcome him into the Flex On. Mr. McNair, what's going on, man? Did I do a good enough job?
Yeah. Hey, look, let me tell you. If I was sleepy 10 minutes ago after this intro, I'm up now. So you all's enthusiasm, man, definitely got me up laughing and some more stuff. So thank you for having me. And you know, a lot of times, you know, you don't even realize when you're in the trenches getting work done, man, you don't even realize how much you've done until you literally hear somebody say it. It's like, wow, I guess we have done all that. So it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, Mr. McNair. I obviously know the unfortunate circumstances of, you know, how you became who you are. I mean, we cover Maryland on this channel, you know, like nobody's business. But for those who don't know, I know I read the bio, but I always like to tell people, no one can tell your story better than you can, Mr. McNair. Anything that the people should know who are watching you want to shout out the good people at the McNair Foundation, do your thing.
Yeah, I'm Marty McNair. I'm the father and the co-founder of the Jordan McNair Foundation. So, you know, the interesting thing, whenever I tell Jordan's story, most people already know it. But for those who all that don't know it, Jordan was a University of Maryland football player that had succumbed to a heat-related injury on the second day of practice as a sophomore in 2018. As a parent, I didn't even know a heat stroke could be fatal. I'm using the term heat stroke loosely. I thought that if you got overheated, just like probably every other parent, that you got in the sun and, I mean, you got in the shade, drank some cold water, and all will be right with the world. Yeah, that is somewhat the case in regards to heat exhaustion. And, man, we went from Jordan woke up a healthy kid Tuesday morning, May 28th, 29th of 2018. And unfortunately, we had a emergency liver transplant that Friday, less than 3 days, less than 72 hours later, with 85% of his liver being in necrosis. So 85% of his liver was just dead. And you can imagine, like, that was a fast-moving train of information, really just trying to figure out what happened, how it happened, obviously we knew when it happened, but the main goal was really like, how do we make a difference here? And those 2 weeks, Jordan was in the hospital. Every time I would come in the hospital and walk from the front door to shock trauma, the elevators, I would go through this range of emotions. And, you know, one of the main things I felt this range of emotions from feeling impotent to helpless to angry to, confused. And, you know, because anytime something happens to your child, as a father, you always want to assume, you know, responsibility for that. And for me, I thought I kind of prepared him from everything, you know, that I could prepare him for in his life at that point. Unfortunately, I couldn't prepare him for what I didn't know. And I kept asking myself all these questions when I would walk down the hallway to the elevator, the ICU. And I kept saying, what did I miss? I missed something, right? And I kept asking myself, what did I miss? Did I not ask the right questions? Because when the coaches from University of Maryland at the time were sitting at our kitchen table a few days prior to signing day, I asked her, the general questions that most parents ask. Can he get some playing time? That was it. I didn't think to ask. I didn't have an innovative mindset at that time. I mean, what could possibly happen at University of Maryland, a Big Ten school? We would have never assumed that the worst could have possibly happened. And ever since then, it was like I felt like I didn't know any statistics in regards to how many student athletes had died at the NCAA level. I didn't know any statistics of any high school student athletes that died from this 100% preventable injury. And I feel like is two things we can do in life when tragedy hits. We can accept it and go into that rabbit hole of depression and despair, or we can do something about it. And I just chose to do something about it. And it was like, I always thought that as a family, we thought Jordan would have played on Sundays. I never had an idea that he would be the poster boy for student athlete safety across the nation.
No, thank you for that. We have your foundation link down below. So if you do want to find out more about Jordan's story, about what Mr. Marty McNair is doing, feel free to check him out. I guess, Dre, before you go, you got some books, man. You've done the media tour. You've been on the Sports Centers, the Real Sports. I mean, CNN. I mean, like you said, you never thought it would be the way it went. I mean, just talk a little bit about that and what your new book and your previous literary book talk about as well.
Well, one thing I learned about our story was, I learned so many things just in regards when Jordan passed. Luckily, our legal team, we wound up getting the Murphy Falcon, the Murphy legal team, and just really a great group of people. I always tell people that I was a product of Baltimore City, really, and I grew up in the 80s. I'm probably a lot older than a lot of you guys, but I was a childhood delinquent, a teenage delinquent, and it's interesting how I circled back around with attorney Billy Murphy, because he was my very first lawyer when I was 15 years old. Facing a bunch of serious charges, just trying to prove myself and all that misinformed rights of passage into manhood that we just all kind of taught each other growing up in the 80s, that came from them single parent homes. But anyway, one of the big things that really the reason that we even got to a national platform is because we didn't say anything. And the thing about the media is the sensationalized news is only hot till the next sensationalized story comes along. So if it had been up to me, I probably would have, Jordan's story might not even made it out of the DMV, because, really like so much media attention was surrounding it. And with our story, our big thing was, we wanted to get the facts first before we said anything. And I think, nobody braces themselves to say, hey, a tragedy is about to happen. And when the media comes knocking, and I'm just not going to say anything, you got to have a real strong, level of discipline and a strategy, from a legal perspective, really to kind of get around that. So in our story, the reason we got to a national platform initially was it was an ESPN reporter by the name of Heather Dennick. Heather's on the news every morning talking college football. And Heather, and at Maryland at that particular time under that coaching staff, it wasn't a matter of what was going to happen. It just was a matter of when it was going to happen. So if it wasn't Jordan, it would have been another kid, just because of the toxic culture at that time. And just really, the way that coaching style was. And for us, Heather had started reaching out to me. I didn't know who she was. Had turned over to the legal team, and she earned our trust. And, Heather wrote some stories. Our story just rocked college football. So we really didn't say anything to the media for the first 63 days. The PR person at the firm, a brother by the name of Zach McDaniels. Zach is a mover and a shaker in the city of Baltimore. Y'all probably wouldn't, unless you know Zach personally, you probably wouldn't know how impactful he is just in regards to everything that he does. So make a long story short, we said no comment for the first 63 days. And, we were just really strategically waiting on Heather's story to drop. And when it dropped, like I say, it rocked college football. And man, our very first time speaking, we spoke on Good Morning America. And we just kind of, took that black SUV, that Uber SUV or that Uber Black through New York City, and you name it, every major media platform we could be on, obviously we were on. However, one of the main things that, Jordan's story had garnered so much national attention, and stayed in the media for so long that, really we became like a voice for this or the face of this type of injury. Not knowing that, as I mentioned, I didn't know anything about statistics. So Jordan basically was the 18th kid that had died in 18 years. He was the 31st football player that had died in 18 years at the NCAA level of competition. And he pretty much fell in predictable statistics. They were losing 2 to 3 linemen every year from heat stroke or heat-related injury. Who knew? And man, I know, right? I know. 18 years, he was number 31. And another young man died that summer by the name of Braden Bradford. He was a lineman as well. And there was always big guys. And even though we need to update these stats because unfortunately, we've had way too many young people pass from this type of injury since then. I mean, it's just been very, very challenging. But our work really kind of keeps us busy. And the work that I do in regards to the books and all that type of stuff, it's really kind of hard. Our mission was really the awareness, education, and the prevention of heat-related injuries. But, it's kind of hard to talk about heat-related injuries when it's 20 degrees outside or when it's 40 degrees outside. So that's where a lot of our stuff, we were really like the first couple of years while we were in motion, basically it was like, we just kind of stayed peak season. We had 2 seasons, peak season and valley season. Meaning, these type of injuries always start happening right around like spring conditioning, summer conditioning, always when kids are trying to get back in the mix, trying to get acclimated to the weather. So we would be super duper busy from obviously May all the way through September, and then we would fall off. We would go into the valley season, and I'm just kind of like, hustling, trying to make some money, speaking engagement, stuff like that. But again, like there was really no consistency outside of our peak season, for lack of a better term. So that's when I really got to, writing books and writing curriculums and all that type of stuff, because one of the main things I think about any type of safety, not just only on the field, but what about off the field as well? I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she was saying how she wanted her son who played baseball, she was a former athlete, and she was basically saying like she wanted it more than him. And as parents, sometimes we can get a little bit, over the top with it, just like saying, okay, hey, you got this potential. And the average kid, when you really look at the landscape of collegiate sports and collegiate recruitment, my new book covers all that type of stuff. The landscape had changed significantly when Jordan was being recruited. It looked totally different. Wasn't no NIL or collectives or any of these types of bargaining chips that were in place to help a family make a decision to go to a school. Really at that time, if you got a lifetime scholarship, you were doing pretty well in regards to, the future of your child in a sense. So now, the whole landscape has changed. It's become a business. And that's really what, our goal is now. Like, we're trying to just stay relevant all year long, not only on the field, but how do we keep kids and their families safe off the field as well? Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. McNair, I got to ask. You said that Jordan was the 31st in 18 years. What are the precautions that people can take so that way this tragedy doesn't happen to others?
Yeah, well, the main thing is, initially, so for us, we thought it was all about safety equipment, right? If they just had a cold water tub on the field, if they just had an AD on the field, on the field when these types of things happen or close by, but the main thing is the more and more we got into it, our process was extremely incremental. Like, I thought it was all about initially saying, hey, I'm going to come out and I'm going to talk to some kids and I'm going to talk to some coaches. And we were very football centric that first year or two. And meaning we were just talking to football programs in a sense. But one of the things for me, I kept saying like, well, really, that's like you hear a speaker, right? And they come out and they say some stuff that's very, very impactful. And the ether burns off, right? And they're going to motivate you. But eventually the ether's going to burn off. And you're going to probably go back to doing the same old thing you've been doing all along. So for me, I kept asking myself, like, what's going to make anything I say stick, to be honest? So we got into the legislative space because obviously if things are mandated from a legislative space, they have to follow these mandates in a sense. And so one of the things I realized early on, or I thought early on, was, we kept donating all these cold water tubs, right? And, I'm thinking, if you got the right safety equipment on the field, these types of you're in the space of preventiveness, in the sense, preventive preparation, to say the least. But, the more I got into it, kids kept dying. And I kept saying, wow, if they got this in place. And then what I realized, it really wasn't even the safety equipment. It was more about the emergency action plan. So what an EAP is, those of us, everybody that's been in a fire drill before, that's an emergency action plan. You go across the street or you go to the safe location. Y'all sit over there until they call everybody back in the building or whatever the case may be. But the main thing is, when you run a fire drill, that's a practice, right? So they're practicing in the event something happens. This is what we're going to do, right? Now, the thing is, you get people when they're off guard, and, folks is just kind of like thinking about everything but that. But the interesting thing is, when you walk on any type of sports field, regardless of the sport, any type of basketball court or indoor gym, the potential for a fire can happen just like that. So that's what happened in our case. Was they had an emergency action plan, but it wasn't a practice emergency action plan. So therefore, in Jordan's case, it was almost like a Murphy's Law type thing. If it could have happened, it did happen, because, again, somebody made a split decision to say, hey, we're going to go over to this field and practice. Then that when they were calling, now you got construction on campus. So now the EMTs are trying to find where he's at. And all this time, with this type of injury, time is everything. So really that hour and 37 minutes that it took them to get to the ER, all the damage was pretty much done on the field, because you only, keep in mind, when you have a heat-related injury, it starts off with heat exhaustion, and heat exhaustion isn't a bad thing. It's just when they become mismanaged, right? So in our case, that was a clear example of a heat-related injury being mismanaged, because, the athletic trainer on the field or the medical professionals didn't really recognize what was going on at the time. Now, as a parent, a father, who's already in the process of feeling guilty, and it's my fault. Now you want somebody to blame, right? So what do we do instinctively? We blame somebody, and most of the time, I do coaches training, parent education training, student athlete training, and I tell coaches all the time. Parents think you all are medical professionals, and you're not, right? You think it's going to be a coach that's going to save your kid at a certain level. It's not. They have medical professionals, or they should have medical professionals in place. That's their job, to save your kid. I'm embarrassed to say, like, I never even knew what an athletic trainer was. And Jordan went to a private school with resources. And when you look at, all these types of things, you got 21,000 high schools across the nation. As of 2024, you have over 8 million student athletes that are participating in high school sports. You had a major influx with girls flag football. They probably put about 3 million added to that number, right, across the nation. But the main thing is, schools fall into two categories, right? It's those who have resources and those who don't. So those who have resources can afford an athletic trainer. They got a medical professional on the field. Now, the ones that don't have resources, they can't afford an athletic trainer. So everybody on and they may have the school police officer doubling down as the football coach. We've all seen that, so a lot of times it just depends on, where you are, how educated the people are. And most importantly, back to that emergency action plan, it's like almost saying, what's the purpose of having a cell phone, a smartphone, if you don't know it's smart, or you don't constantly practice, all of the gadgets and the apps and all that type of stuff. So in our case, back to the EAP, what I realized was emergency action plans was really the core to safety all the way across the board. Not only have an emergency action plan, but you got to have a practice emergency action plan. You need to know who's going to do what in the event of, who's going to call 911, who's going to call the parent, who's going to do crowd control, who's going to wave the EMTs in once they get to the field or once they get to the facility. Because nowadays, if you at a park and they got 10 fields, how would they know which one to come to? So a lot of these things we don't think about, because, hey, I always ask parents in these types in the youth space, hey, if something happened to your kid right now, what would you do? Oh, I'll call 911 and say what? Do you know the address where we are? Do you know what field we on? Because a lot of people just don't think about these things, until there's an emergency. So therefore, our goal is really try to, preventively prepare people or educate people. So when these types of things happen, somebody will know what to do, and they practiced it. So therefore they can run through what to do with ease in a sense. Yep.
Can I ask a follow-up question about that?
Yes, sir.
Because you said something happened with Jordan's liver. What exactly happened with his liver? Because
Right.
you said he came out healthy that day, but
Mhm.
then his liver, especially for him being young and healthy, how did that happen?
Sure. So, and I'm sorry I didn't explain that. So I tell people, when you look at a heat-related injury, right? So you have heat exhaustion, and heat exhaustion escalates into heat stroke. So what that means is when your core body temperature goes above 104 degrees, right? Internally, right? That means, it's a myriad of several signs that will let you know this person is in danger. You literally have a 20 to 30-minute window to cool this person's core body temperature down. Whether you do it by ice, whether you do it by water, whether you do it by cold water tub, whether you put a person in a tarp, whether you put ice under their armpits, on their groins, on the back of their neck, on top of their heads. So basically, but keep in mind, when your core body temperature goes above 104 degrees, that's the equivalent of your body being in a microwave oven. All your organs start to cook. Because keep in mind, the body that lost control to cool itself down. So where all of us, when you sweat, that's the body's, cooling system, right? When we're working out or whatever the case may be. So when your body loses that control to cool itself down, that's when you're in the danger zone in a sense. So you literally have a 20 to 30-minute window to get this person in some ice and water to cool them down, right? As we say in this space, cool first, transport second, right? So in our case, in Jordan's case, you had 30 minutes to cool him down. But unfortunately, they didn't get Jordan to the ER until an hour and 37 minutes later. And his core body temperature was 106 degrees. So keep 106 and some change. So keep in mind, all of his stuff was cooking the whole time. So that core body, because they had already missed the window of opportunity, when you get to that, if you go past 30 minutes, more than likely the damage is irreparable. Meaning something's cooking, your liver's cooking, your kidneys cooking, your lungs cooking. It could be your heart. But again, keep in mind, you're in a microwave oven internally at 104. And anything above, you can imagine, is just cooking the whole time. So like I said, that window that they missed, that Jordan was, they saw him in distress. However, I think that the athletic trainer at the time really just didn't recognize in what level of distress he was in. Because what happens is when your core body temperature goes, it almost starts with heat exhaustion. You got cramps. You may be vomiting, right? You may be dizzy. You may not sweat, even though you're warming up. And when you get to that point, we call it central nervous dysfunction. And central nervous dysfunction is like this person is drunk, right? They're aggressive. They're just kind of like out of their mind for the most part, unnaturally in a sense. So when I looked at, and this athletic trainer that, I threatened to do bodily harm early on when Jordan first passed because I wanted somebody to blame. We wound up getting together about 3.5 years later in a space of restorative forgiveness. And I'm asking him, tell me what happened. And he was like, we didn't practice the EAP. And now I'm looking at him and I'm looking at Jordan. Jordan's 6'5", 300 pounds, size 16 shoe. So once he was already in that central nervous dysfunction failure, he's like agitated, he's aggravated. So I'm looking at the athletic trainer. This guy might be 150 with a 50-pound rock in his pocket, wet. So now I'm looking at it like, wow, okay, y'all trying to control this guy. How you gonna put him in some water because he might drown or whatever? Because unfortunately, he was already in the danger zone, or he had been in the danger zone for a moment. Yeah. So that's what happened to his liver. His liver cooked prior to getting to the hospital. So that's why, he was in the damage. I mean, that's why we wound up getting a liver transplant.
Well, uh, that's insane, man. I'm
No,
sorry about
no,
that.
yeah,
Um,
no.
my question is this: as far as University of Maryland, what steps have they taken so far? You know, since that incident, have they implemented your strategies or anything?
Yeah, so and this is the thing, early on, people used to ask me all the time, like, how can you still deal with University of Maryland? At the end of the day, this is where Jordan, his heart was at, you know what I mean, his love was at. And don't get me wrong, at that particular time, you had Dr. Lowe was a school president at the time, right? And when I tell you, in a situation like this, when somebody, and he still has all my respect, man, because I'm an old school guy, and I deal with integrity and a good moral compass, right? And that's where that makes or breaks my level of respect for a person. And things happen. I mean, anything can happen, and I like the fact that early on, he was like, "Look, we take full legal and moral responsibility for what happened to Jordan." Because it could have been so easy to say, "Hey, you know what? We just gonna kind of, not say anything and just kind of let this play out." Where this guy had a level of integrity that just really just kind of went, man. I mean, he earned my respect right out the gate. So it was a tad bit easy, even though it was a challenging situation. Really, in regards to your question, Maryland may be one of the safest places, even just from a reactionary perspective that I mean, a kid can go to, and I'm still connected to the program. I talked to Coach Locks the other day. We got a different type of relationship. It ain't even about football, but still, I mean, Jordan Spirit is there. So at the end of the day, like man, I try not to operate. I can't operate. I don't have the opportunity to operate on a low vibration, and in regards to me trying to save other people's families, how can I sit there and still walk around, salty or tight? Guess what? None of this is guaranteed at all. We had Jordan for 19 wonderful years, man. And when I tell you he was a good kid, man, he just was a good dude, man. And he wasn't me. He was 1,000 times better than me at 19. I was already a statistic of Baltimore City at that time. But he was a kid that was just a good kid, man. And I wouldn't be surprised in hindsight. I can see why he had a higher calling, much more than what I expected. We always thought Jordan would play on Sundays. I never thought that this would have been his true purpose along the way, for sure.
And I got my follow-up question is how has this experience completely motivated you to do what you're doing now? Like, how did you get that motivation to just be the guy that you are today?
Well, you know what? A lot of self-development, a lot of investment in self-development. So for me, it's interesting because like I had a public speaking background. Like everything I did was to be an example for Jordan, right? So I was always into public speaking, Toastmasters, all that type of stuff. I always knew I had a book in me. I would pick something up, put it down, pick something up, put it down. So for me, and the interesting thing was I was already in the advocacy space. At that time I owned a drug treatment facility in Baltimore City. So, we kind of started with transitional housing. So I was already a reentry advocate. So people coming home from long-term incarceration and things like that. And, obviously, dealing, just coming home, trying to get themselves together. So for me, when this happened, really, I felt like it was almost like, wow, was Jordan and God preparing me for this? You know what I mean? Because, I was already in that advocacy space. And the only thing that changed for me was the trajectory of the mission just changed, and of course, it's your child. So, those of you all, that are parents, and I'm sure any parent can understand, man, you will do anything for your kids shy of breaking the law. And if you got to break the law for you, we see it all the time. How many actors and actresses, was paying millions of dollars for their kids to get in school in these Ivy League colleges or whatever the case may be. I tell people a funny story all the time, man. When Jordan was, man, Ohio State started offering Jordan, a scholarship, which really they started showing interest in the 9th grade, right? And I never even really, I wasn't really a college football guy until he got into it, or me. He was in the process. But I remember one time that Jordan told me, he said, Ohio State they want us to come up this weekend. Now, keep in mind, like we're in the process of opening up our treatment facility. So we're in the credentialing process. I can see the ship, but I can see it, but it ain't there at the dock yet, right? And man, when I tell you, I was so freaking broke, man, everything was dirty. Like my tags was dirty. I had no car insurance. Health insurance went out the window. I went out the car dealership. My engine light was on. I went out the car dealership. My buddy got me a sticker. My tags is hot, the whole 9, right? But at the end of the day, we drove up to Columbus, Ohio, with dirty tags and, the engine light going on. I probably have borrowed some money for some gas money or hotel money or whatever the case may be. So, a lot of times that's the sacrifices that we'll make for our children to be successful. Like I say, short of breaking the law. And Jordan just got his driver's license. And he kept like, let me drive. I'm like, no, I got it. Because we coming down all these 1-lane these 2-lane roads, and you got the police, the sheriff of the local town sitting over there on the side of the road. So, again, man, we'll do whatever we got to do for them to be successful, man. And, I think as a parent, man, I was no different in regards to that. Like, we're going to do whatever it got to take. Hey, look, if you got to eat and I can't eat, man, whatever the case may be, for you to be successful, that's just what we're going to do.
Hey, Mr. McNair, question. So I'm gonna pivot a little bit. How did the relationship between you and Jordan's mom grow after this, or even, sometimes it is a down, then it's a up. Relationships go how they go, but from when the incident happened to now, how has it grown?
Well, let me tell you this, and I've just told somebody this today, right? Most people didn't know that Tanya, if you read one of my first book, man, Jordan's mom, Tanya, is like, we like siblings. Like, literally, I'm an only child. Me and Tanya have been joined at the hip for, 35 years at least, right? We was together, I want to say maybe 9 years before Jordan was born, right? And like I say, me being that statistic of the city, man, she just went through, she was ride or die with me, regardless of my ups, my downs. And luckily, when I turned it around, we were right there. So we didn't have Jordan till I was 30, she was 32, right? So, man, people don't know that me and Tanya, separated when Jordan was 6 months. I literally was just telling somebody that today. But the main thing that kept us together as a family unit was we co-parented very well. And early on, we kind of look beyond what you're doing, what I'm doing. Our main focus is him. So people would see us, man, out forever. And it's like, oh, damn, I saw you and your wife, and, y'all still together. We at all the games. But again, we just had, the main focus was him. And the interesting thing, when you talk about co-parenting, man, I think that's, we showed a successful template or a successful example of co-parenting, man. It ain't about what your emotional feelings are, what my emotional feelings. Our main thing is to get him to a level of success. And we made that pact very, very early on, right? So, and the interesting thing is, like, even after Jordan passed, really, Tanya and I might talk. Let me say this. My wife calls her my second wife. So you can imagine, right? Like literally, like it's just like I say, her family has always been my family. And, like I say, wonderful person, man. And I'm just grateful that, his mother was Tanya. And I'm just grateful that, really, man, like, she supported me, because when I said, you know what, we need to do a foundation, like, it was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like, all right, I'm going to follow your lead. And I'm just grateful that, her and the rest of the family just believed in me enough where it's like, okay, we're going to follow his lead in regards to that. So yeah, man, like, but the main goal, our level of success really just came from, that love for him, that love for one another, you know what I mean? And that self-love of, at the end of the day, we're going to make this happen regardless of what, no matter what, for his level of success. And I think that if more parents had that level of self-love, love for one another, and most importantly, love for the child, man, we'd have a lot more beautiful human beings in the world as a result of
it. Let me ask you a two-part question, Mr. McNair.
Yeah,
Mr.
come on with
McNair. What's the difference in the two books, and is there a third book coming?
Yeah. So actually, I wrote 2 books last year. So the first book is Can My Child Play? Because what happened was our story was in the media so much. We were like probably in the media for about almost 3 years, right? And I felt as though I wanted to tell our story, right, from the inside out. Now, keep in mind, we were in litigation for about 3 years. And I was, you learn something every time you write a book as an author, right? What you could have did, what you should have did, I could have did this better. I could have been more efficient at that. And man, I learned, especially from a financial investment perspective. So one of the things was, just and Can My Child Play? I talk a little bit about my redemption, right, and my experience, but I didn't want to take away from Jordan's story, right? So I just kind of touched a little bit on my stuff. And when I wrote the book, it was more about, just, hey, what do most parents ask? Can my child play, or why aren't they playing? It really talks and teaches people or parents or readers to learn how to ask better questions in regards to your child's safety, no matter what level of competition they playing at, right? So that was Can My Child Play? The 5th quarter talks about, because in that relevancy space, all this is based off of what I felt like I should have taught Jordan. And 5th quarter, it's a parent's guide, because nowadays the collegiate landscape, especially from a college recruitment perspective, has changed so much from almost 7 years ago when Jordan passed, right? Now, like I said, Urban Meyer was talking about a lifetime scholarship, right? Now, you almost need, if you're smart, you need an accountant and a lawyer before you sign anybody's contract to come into a college right now. And the college landscape has just changed, because unless you're just a super duper special kid, nowadays most coaches aren't even recruiting from high school. They're going straight into the transfer portal now. So most kids even going to have to take an offer that they really don't want to take just to get into the college landscape, then jump in the portal themselves, really to get to another team at this point, right? Just to show their skill set. So, and the 5th quarter really focuses on, the things that really matter with young people now. So I wrote this curriculum. When you see Cody behind me, that's Keep On Believing in Yourself. So we have a Keep On Believing in Yourself curriculum, podcast. Of course, my podcast, I don't use StreamYard yet, but after the night, I probably will start using it.
We can help you out, Mr. McNair.
I need it, because, man, y'all got some serious stuff happening. So basically, one of the things that, with Kobe, it just really kind of started out as a 1-pager. And, man, I wrote a high school curriculum, and basically it prepares student athletes for the collegiate level, meaning we talk about peer pressure. We talk about good decision-making. We talk about how to take care of your mental health. We talk about financial literacy. We talk about where do you fit in on a team, because most kids or high school kids just think, you're a big fish in a small pond. You putting up good numbers, whatever sport you playing, you're really good at it. And say you get recruited by a D1 school, right? The majority of the people on your team can do everything that you're doing. That's why they're there. However, as young people, what does that do to them mentally, right? Because I think young people think that it's a straight line, right? And it's going to work out the way I think it's going to work out. And we all know, you keep life, it never works out the way it's supposed to work out, right? So some of these kids going to get injured, right? So, but again, even in you getting injured, how do you sit there and stay confident? How do you stay resilient? How do you make good decisions? How do you not get caught up in peer pressure? Man, where's your leadership at? How do you use your voice? So these are all things that we really focused on in regards to that, right? Now, The interesting is the fifth quarter basically supports everything that we're teaching student athletes. But I think that the main thing is all education starts at home, because I look at everything I taught Jordan. If I always feel like if I taught Jordan to advocate, I always told him to amplify his voice amongst his peers. Don't be afraid to fight. Somebody gets you wrong, you deal with it amongst your peers. I never taught him that around adults and coaches, because I always taught Jordan to be coachable, meaning coach say run through that brick wall, you run. Coach say jump off the cliff, you jump. But I'm telling kids nowadays, if coach ain't ran through that brick wall himself, don't follow him. Let him run through the brick wall. If coach jump off the cliff himself, you let him jump off the cliff. You don't do it. Because nowadays, unfortunately, coach gonna keep getting the job. The coach at Maryland at the time, man, and I'm not wishing any negative energy on that guy, but man, this cat had 5 jobs since then. Ray Rice
and he was terrible here. I'll say it for you. I'll say it for you, Mr. McNair. He was terrible here, damn it.
Look, and Ray Rice just got a job as a JV coach somewhere. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
So obviously you got that level of nepotism that goes along the way, man. That carries that's a whole nother subject. But I think that as parents, everything starts at home. So the fifth quarter talks about how to deal with your child, how to deal with recruitment, what questions to ask coaches. Don't be afraid to ask the serious questions. How to prepare your child to deal with their official visit. Because to me, official visit ain't nothing but a test to see if your kid is a leader or a follower. And the average parent knows their child. Do not send your child out there unprepared, and don't put them in a sink or swim situation and they're going to sink. So these are all things that, even one of the big things I talk about is how to legally protect your child. Meaning, when we first got legal representation, the very first question, one of our attorneys asked us was, do you have a power of attorney? And we like, for what? Well, he's 18. He's emancipated. And I'm just like, wow, we don't think about these things. We don't think, what if Jordan had been on the Midwest, or he was down south, or he was on the West Coast, and it would have took us days to get to him versus him being up the road where it only took us 45 minutes to get to the hospital. That would have been even worse of a nightmare, because at the end of the day, they really didn't have to tell us anything, as parents, you know what I mean? Now imagine, that from a financial perspective, when you're looking at collective deals, we ain't even gonna deal with NIL deals. We're gonna say collective deals, right? And we all know money don't come with no instructions. So you comfortable with a 19-year-old or 18-year-old signing the contract? Come on, that's nobody should be comfortable with that. And that's why I'm saying nowadays, just with the landscape of all this, it's a business nowadays. So I think every parent, I talk about that. I got a sports agent that answered some questions and just kind of broke it down. Like, look, I interviewed a sports agent for the book, where it was just like, you need to talk about, finance. You need financial literacy 101, and a lot of parents really just don't discuss that. So, really, the book is really just like a really good guide, and just really how to prepare your kids. So it's an adult version of Kobe, the curriculum in a sense. And I think that it keeps both parent and student athlete on the same page in regards to preparing them for that level of success. Because most importantly, we all know, right? Those numbers, every kid think they want to get to the NFL. And that's the point I was making when I was talking to my friend earlier. Every kid say they want to make it to the league, right? Whatever league that is, until you see what that work ethic really looks like. So when you look at, NFL players, you got out of 8 million student athletes, you got 6% to go to a Division I school, right? You have 1.6% of football players that get to the NFL. Now just think, you got 105 guys on a Division I team. 1.6 are going to go. Especially if you're looking at a Maryland or, unless you're looking at a powerhouse, you may have a couple more, but it still balances out. 1.6. So that means you got 2 kids, 1.5 dudes, just 1.6 guys that's going to go to the league. Even at the NBA, you got 2 to 3% of those kids that's going to go to play on a professional level. Everybody think they can do it early on until they see what that work ethic really consists of. And a lot of kids just don't really have that work ethic really to even play at that level. So our goal with the fifth quarter is really to talk about how do we prepare them for life after sports And as a parent, if you think about anything other than life at the sports, you think about the wrong thing. And I used to tell Jordan that all the time. Even if you did make it to the next level, bro, you'll be done. If you make it 4 years, you've done good. So if you make it 4 years, you're going to be 27, 28. Now what? What you going to do now? Like now, that's just, that's a couple of nanosecond of your life. So, these are just things that, we really cover. And I cover like another funny thing is how to protect your child. I mean, not funny, serious, how to protect your child legally. A lot of people don't know you need a power of attorney. When your kid goes away to college, especially out of town, you need to have a power of attorney legally and financially. Because at the end of the day, you do not, a friend of mine, I share stories like anecdotal type stories, other people's story. A friend of mine, her son went to school in Tennessee. He was a non-athlete. Man, that dude got his first piece and lost his mind. Flunked out immediately. He studied playing the Leroy. He's playing like he's studying class. She don't even know he done flunked out. Till one of her friends saw him somewhere off campus one day when he should have been in class. This man is straight flunked out. He didn't even say nothing. She's still paying tuition. So stories like that are kind of like real life stories that everybody can relate to. And I've heard that story numerous times about, kids just not really, being focused when they went to college. And another friend of mine, her daughter had was a basketball player and was in Florida, and called home hysterical one day as soon as she got down there. And she was asking her, she said, calm down, what's going on? And she said, Mom, they left me. They went to the grocery store and they left me, right? And she's super duper over the top excited. And her mother said, well, what you want me to do? You want me to come to Florida and take you to the grocery store? But kids in that moment, that's real to them. So when you look at, their ability to deal with these real life or problem solve at this level, a lot of kids don't have that skill set. So she told her, look, calm down, get yourself together, get on your bike, put your backpack on and ride to the grocery store. But really, what you want me to do? You want me to come to Florida and take you to the grocery store? But again, to a young person, that in that moment, that's very, very real. So these are the things that we have to prepare our children for, like how to utilize mental health resources, because mental health is taken very, very seriously at the collegiate level now. It's 4 things that the average college student suffers from: depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and eating disorders. Those are the main things. So, we have to prepare our children to know when these things are triggered. You got to know to say, all right, well, here's the mental health office on campus, or this is the person that does the mental health. And you got to teach them to speak up for themselves where, they can protect themselves as well. Yep.
Mr. McNair, before we get you out of here, what's next? What can the people do to keep up with the foundation? And any final words from you, sir?
Yeah, thank you. The big thing for us is, man, really, we do a lot of stuff in Maryland, but surprisingly, Atlanta is like our second state, the state of Georgia. So we do a ton of stuff down there. One of the big things that we focusing on right now is, we focusing on one-day student athlete summits. So I encourage everybody, we're going to try to get a couple of those before the school year ends up here and in Georgia as well. It's easier just to kind of touch, do a more like a 1-to-many ratio. So we'll have some upcoming one-day student athlete summits, and we'll have panel discussions. We'll have breakout groups, not only for student athletes, but parents as well, where, we're talking about our Cody curriculum, like how to protect yourself from a mental health, everything I had talked about tonight. So, we're trying to partner with some schools right now, some high schools, where we just kind of do like one central location and just invite all the surrounding schools that may be in that conference or that district, more than likely the districts, to come out. And, really like the main thing is just really education. Like, how do we keep everybody educated? And because a lot of times, parents just don't know, and I think a lot of times, as one of you brothers just said, that information has to come from people that that are relatable, and I think that, really, in regards to the information that we offer is very, very valuable or invaluable to, the actual process in a sense. And I ask everybody, hey, man, please grab a copy of the fifth quarter or Can My Child Play? I'm trying to catch the camera right there. Go to the Jordan McNair Foundation.org, grab your copy. You get an autographed copy from me. But hey, if you want to go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble online, Ingram Spark, I'm on all those platforms as well. But, I feel like, yes, really, the power of printed books is so significant because we live just in the age of digital and we can all subscribe to that, because it's so much easier. But, as an author, the power of print is crucial. So I ask everybody, go online, grab a copy. And man, Jordan's birthday is coming up March the 3rd. And that's when we just usually do a big giving campaign. Man, I'm just asking 10 people to tell 10 other people, man, to purchase a copy of the book at $19.99. Yep.
Not now, right now. Click on that link. Go purchase the book. Support the Jordan McNair Foundation. And happy heavenly birthday to Jordan. I'm actually the 6th Mr. McNair.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Pisces season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
so
you seem like a good dude. Okay, cool. Way to go, Dre. You got a good team, bro.
Thank you. Hey, man, they were crazy enough to let me host this show, so I guess I'm doing all right.
My man. Sure. The Wizards got a W tonight, huh? Good.
Yes. Yeah, we couldn't play our sound, but we'll play it.
Come on now, say it with me. Everybody beats the Wiz.
Who they play tonight?
I think it was the Nets. The Nets.
Yeah, bro.
He said don't matter.
It don't.
Have y'all been to any games yet?
I ain't been in years.
Not this season. I haven't been.
Man, I done been to quite a few games, man, and a couple times I left at halftime just because I was so frustrated. But I think that
help is on the way, maybe.
Yeah, and I heard they got a couple new guys that's some veterans. I heard that they pretty good. Like that might be that leadership that they need. I'm Bub Carrington. I'm pro Bub Carrington all the way. That's my nephew.
Shout
so
out.
Of course, man, I'm gonna tell you.
Just got his jersey retired too at St. Francis.
Yeah. I was there that night. Night. Let me tell you, I realized when Lil Bub was checking, I call him Lil Bub. When Lil Bub was checking LeBron when they played the Lakers, it's like, LeBron, go sit down, bro. Please, bro. When you got a baby checking you, you know what I'm saying? It's time to go. Like, you ain't got nothing else to prove, man. Come on, man, for sure. I heard y'all say something with Luka. I think the Lakers, that was a good move. I think they going the future is Luka. It ain't LeBron.
Of course. Yeah.
At LeBron, he's accepted that.
Man. Yeah. But it's like, bro, you can still do it. And I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand you trying to get your son on board with you the whole nine, man. And hey, do what you can do while you have the power to do it, man. I just think it's time to move on, man. Come on, man.
Part of me feels like he's going to try to wait for his next son. For some reason, I feel like if he keeps going, because I feel like LeBron got another 2 to 3.
What?
He got at least one more year left.
I think he got about 2 to 3.
Ain't not 2 to 3.
He takes care of
just one more year.
3.
I think
3. Golly.
I think he got 2 to 3 left in him.
Nah,
he trying to hit Brady. He trying to get 45.
I really believe he might try to really push for 45 or something.
Nah, Luka gotta like play out of his mind, for him to do that, and that's not happening. I give him one more year.
I agree with you, man, for sure. I don't I just don't see it, man. And I was talking to a guy yesterday that does some NBA stuff, and I asked him the same thing, and he said, man, he probably, I know one son, but trying to do another son, that's a tad bit excessive, man. Golly. Go up in the front office somewhere and you can do that, but man, stay off the floor, man, for sure, man. Yeah. And go with the ball head. As a man, look, it's hard. It's hard, man. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard to let it go, man. Take my word for it, man. I knew my barber, but I remember when everybody was wearing the little mohawks, right?
Yeah.
And I asked my barber, "What you think?" He say, "Slim, it ain't gonna happen." So when I turned 50, it was like, man, I'm done. I'm tired of spending this money. Look, you go through all of the motions, right? And I'm saying, man, I'm looking at that little man weave. I'm like, damn, I work out every day. I wonder, like, can I get in the shower with that on? Like, just go ahead and let it go, man. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and let it. As a man, that's so hard. And so I'm looking at LeBron. I'm up in the suites when they played the Lakers, and I'm like, man, I can see that joint from up here, man. That joint, like, hey, look, let it go, Slim. Go with the ball. You got some good bed action. Go ahead and just let it go, man. You know what I mean? Man. Yeah, it's hard, man. When a man got cut his go bald, man, we hang on for dear life, man. So look, I was looking at a video of me, a YouTube video with the treatment. It was an old joint. And man, I called this sister I was messing with at that time, a friend of mine. I say, I'm mad at you. She like, for what? I say, why you let me keep that hair when my hairline was back that far? I should have been cut it off. Everybody can see it except wasn't nobody. Look, they say they probably treat me like LeBron. Like, all right, we ain't gonna say nothing about it. But damn.
Mr. McNair, put your hands together.
Oh my God.
Hey, we got to do this again, especially since you probably got another book, hopefully, on the way real soon.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a book called, hopefully, that's in the publishing process now. Hopefully, it should hit the shelves. That's such a longer process. And basically, that is a totally different space, but it's called adaptability. And basically what that talks about is Black men and trauma and how we not only deal with, but how we heal from generational trauma. So, I think that's going to do extremely well as well. So be on the lookout for that.
Hey, and we got to have you back to talk about that, Mr. McNair.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything you need to help with the show, man, reach out. We're going to send you this interview
tomorrow. Rest assured. Yep.
Yeah. We're going to email you this interview tomorrow so you can have it for your records and whatever you want to do with it for the good people, the McNair Foundation. And let's have you back and talk about that book, man. I appreciate it. And I'll keep you in the loop, and we'll definitely email you the information. Like I said, anything we can do to help you out in the foundation, don't hesitate to let us know. Everybody put your hands together for Mr. McNair. Thank you again, Mr. McNair. We appreciate your time. Thank you for standing up late with the hooligans on the Flex Zone.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, look, man, you young brothers, man, y'all got the energy, man. I love y'all platform, man. Keep up the good work. For sure.
Appreciate it. You as well, Mr. McNair. Okay. Once again, the Joy McNair Foundation. Show some love for Mr. Marty McNair. Go check out his book, The Fifth Quarter, and of course, Can My Child Play as well in the third book on the way. But he'll be back to talk about that as well. This interview will be put on the channel. So once again, put your hands together, Mr. Marty McNair. Thank you, Mr. McNair, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, you too.
Appreciate that. Once again, Mr. Marty McNair joining us on the Flex Zone, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Let's go there, Dre. I mean, we talked about it this weekend. We saw the Lakers defeat the Denver Nuggets, your nemesis, the team that has been dominating you, whooping your ass like a parent when you bring home a bad report card, and they finally got it done. Is Luka the piece that can put you over the hump? Because the Nuggets didn't have anybody for Luka, and we know old Gold James, as you like to call him. It's just another day at the office, man.
Man, I'm not going to read too much into it. It's regular season. As Cravante likes to remind me a lot, it's a matter of, can they beat them in a 7-game series? We're getting to the point now where, yes, people are picking up, and the regular season games are going to mean more, but we have to remember that this isn't March Madness. This is you're trying to win series at this point. Do I believe the Lakers can beat certain teams in the West? Yes. But Denver is a team that, as long as Joker is there and we don't have a big man, that's the difference. It's a matter of what Jamal Murray is going to show up. Because if Jamal Murray shows up, I believe that the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves. So we don't know right now. But like I said, I think the Lakers can win at least one series right now, whoever they face in the West. But the young team, OKC, they still scare me. The Nuggets, like I said, they how they're playing. The Grizzlies, I'm glad that they're finally getting some recognition. Um, and then I know the Dallas Mavericks right there are in. It would be in the play-in, but how them and the Warriors are looking right now, very scary right now. So I still feel like it's debatable, but I mean it's a good win for the Lakers, and like Mr. McNair was saying, that Luka move is for the future. But right this season, I don't see the Lakers winning a title. Is it possible? Yes, but right now I don't see it. But I'm happy that we at least did win against the Nuggets. But I'd rather see it in a 7-game series.
Good, Raj. How you feeling about the Lakers and any other NBA storylines as we get started with the second half?
I mean, I was cool with them, beating them down Saturday. I was smiling, ear to
The
ear.
Wizards at the bottom.
Yeah, well, that's where they belong. They belong at the bottom. So it is what it is. But as far as the Lakers, like I said before, I'm cool with what they did. Luka finally played his best game as a Laker so far, so that gives me a little bit of hope going into the playoffs. But I don't put like this in the in the stock of we're gonna make a run and do all this stuff. I mean, it was a great win, great regular season win, but the Lakers still lack size, and I think in the end that's what's gonna get them up out of there. But it was a great win, man. It was a great win. I enjoyed it. As far as stories, Cleveland has been playing extremely well. They playing like a complete unit. They're fun to watch. Boston is Boston, of course. They're doing their thing, and you still got OKC who's playing extremely well also. So it's good to see these young teams out there balling and playing great basketball. And like I said, it's great that the Lakers are a part of the mix, but I don't see them being a championship caliber team just yet. They need some size, and they probably going to need another experienced player. Hopefully, they get that next year. But if they do make a run, I'm not going to be complaining.
It's crazy how the NBA works.
I felt like I was going to say quickly. I feel like if they were able to make that trade to the Hornets, I probably would have. Done my usual spiel about the Lakers going to really make some noise, but I think them not having a true big man hurts in the end.
The NBA is so weird, Cravante. I mean, the Wolves down by 24, come back, beat the Thunder. They just played last night. The NBA is trying to do this whole home and home thing. I mean, the Wizards win. The 76ers get blown out by the Bulls, 142-110. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, the Pacers have been red hot as of late if you're not watching, but Jokic, 19 assists. And the Pistons have a better record than the Clippers, everybody. How about good the city of Detroit has been and what they've done? I mean, it's just it's a grind, Cravante. There's so many games, but what do you think about the Luka LA? And they play the Mavericks on tomorrow. So it's on TNT tomorrow. So Lakers Mavericks. Boy. Yeah, Lakers Mavericks tomorrow. I got to check. I think it's on TNT. I'll get the schedule. But Cravante, what you think about it, man?
I actually agree with Raj and Dre. I think this is a Luka move, definitely for the future. I don't think the finals may be a stretch for this year, just because it takes some time. It takes time to get for a team to gel and build that chemistry. Now, I will say in basketball, it happens a little bit faster than maybe as opposed to the NFL and football, but I don't think it's gonna happen that significantly fast. Once Luka gets comfortable, we all know what he's capable of. We saw it, and we saw it again, which makes this even crazier that it's happened because again, this man was in the NBA Finals last year, so we understand what he's capable of and his potential. So it's only a matter of time that the Lakers, because we talked. We know how the Lakers get down. They got to get a superstar. You know what I'm saying? It's La La Land. And all teams in LA do the same thing. They spend that bread to get them players. All right. Because it's not just basketball, it's a show. It's entertainment. So getting Luka, I'm sure probably puts a lot of butts in seats. Maybe the season ticket sales went up and all that good stuff. So this is definitely a push for the future. But as far as this year, I think the finals are a little bit out of reach. For the Cavaliers are playing some really good basketball, man. And surprisingly, I was going to point out Detroit, they are looking healthy. And Cade is playing some consistent basketball. They got 32 wins?
32 and climbing.
God damn. Detroit basketball. My heavens. It's a thing. They're legit in the playoffs. They're in the playoff spot right now. You know what I'm saying? Without the whole play-in mess. Pacers playing good ball. I'm hearing Giannis may not be with the Bucks much longer. So
that rumor is true. Yeah.
And is Cat really waking up in New York? Cat has been putting up some wild, crazy numbers right now. But the thing about Cat, can he sustain it, and can he do that in the playoffs? Because Brunson's going to need him.
Yeah, because that was the difference in the Timberwolves series against the Mavericks. He didn't show up like that.
Absolutely. So he's playing. He looks like he's getting his bearings underneath of him, and he's playing better basketball. But once you solidify yourself as a playoff team, it's not about getting to the playoffs. You got to do it. You got to do it. You can't just win one series. You got to push for two, and then you'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals, where you're probably going to see either Boston or Cleveland, depending on how things work out. SGA has a strong case for MVP right now. So Jokic is still Jokic, but SGA is balling out of control right now. So I love what he's doing at OKC. I'm not sure about them in the playoffs. They have the potential, but I just got to see him put it together, because I still kind of see them as that young, immature team, and they got to show that they are ready to make that next step.
They're gonna have a tough matchup. I mean, do you want to play they just lost to them tonight? Do you want to play Dallas if they're healthy? Do you want to play Golden State? Don't look now, but Jimmy Butler, all the goofiness we talk about, that boy can play some basketball. We know playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy, man.
Playoff Jimmy.
It's never been a doubt that he could ball, but
it's silk pressing on.
Listen, when the headache outweighs the production, you got to go. Okay. But it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. And that play-in for the West is going to be crazy. Absolutely.
Oh, that's going to be some damn good basketball we haven't seen in years.
Absolutely.
And Phoenix is on the outside looking in, so somebody's going to miss it.
And it's funny because it kind of looks like all the guys that were at once upon a time at the top of the West, and now they're all in the play-in. It's kind of crazy.
That is crazy, but I mean, one of those teams from the play-in will probably make the finals. Dallas, Mavericks. No, I'm sorry. Western Conference Finals. I'm not going to say the NBA, but Western Conference Finals definitely one of them. I mean, Mavericks, Golden State. One of them is definitely going to be in the mix for Western Conference Finals.
We shall see as the NBA season now officially begins, since the All-Star break is over and the trade deadline is behind us. So the intensity should pick up a little bit. But Cravante, but Dre, but Raj, speaking of intensity picking up, we got some intensity picking up in Indianapolis on this week, starting on Thursday with the Underwear Olympics, and of course, the NFL Scouting Combine. Big Raj, I know you're excited.
Finish him, Daddy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of I ain't gonna say goofiness. This is gonna be a lot of athletes out there trying to make their mark, trying to get their draft stocks moved up. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, cornerbacks. Defensive tackles. They all out there trying to compete. For a spot to get in that first round of the draft. So it's gonna be very interesting. And of course, we're gonna have the Ravens. Not Steve Bisciotti, Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh will be, doing a press conference tomorrow. So that's gonna be, worth watching as well. But I just want to see what I just want to see what the top players are going. Well, top players coming out of the combine is going to look like. See who we might be interested in. See the positions that we're looking at because we have 11 picks. So this is very instrumental in the future of the Ravens. So yeah, man, it's very important. The combine is for the NFL as it is every year, but for a team that is on the cusp of maybe being a Super Bowl contending team, we need all the help we can get. So hopefully they do their due diligence, look closely of who's doing well in this combine, and come April, pick wisely.
Dre, I'll go to you as you see some of the days as we count down because, man, it feels weird without football. Dre, how you feeling, man?
I'm looking at that schedule. I mean, it's we just got the Super Bowl, but then you're seeing combine 5 days, franchise tag and 10, free agency coming up, all within a month basically, with the draft shortly behind it. Oh man, I mean, I'm excited and I can't wait.
It's no off season, Dre. It's no off season.
Yeah, really. I mean, at this point, then the NBA, NHL. Oh my gosh, like business is really picking up. And Major League Baseball with spring training, March Madness coming. Yeah, it's no, sports is just continuing, and then the NFL is just in the mix. Joe Burrow is not.
Well, this is the thing that happens, Dre. They talk about the size of the hands and all that.
That's what he said before he got drafted. It was a joke.
Told him his hands was too small.
I was like, because I mean,
his hands are below average.
But I mean, I'm glad I could see the date right there because truthfully, we've been doing this, and around the time I think we started the podcast, it's like Andrew Luck out of nowhere had that one preseason game he got, hit, and it was like, yeah, I'm done with this. So.
Cravante, it is almost the time of year that you love, I love. We get together and do things we love on the channel. After the combine, man, I think it's time we get some profiles out, man. It's a lot of players in this draft, a lot of intriguing guys.
Yeah. Interesting. Is a lot of interesting guys. So what's interesting about this draft that's coming up is that Jack, why would you do that, Byron?
I'm just,
So look at Dre. Look at Dre Rod. Look at him.
Gotta love football, man. It's the worldwide game.
I'm trying to see who that is.
Football is amazing.
That is Miss Ashley Nicole Moss.
Oh.
So it's interesting because
analyst host for CBS Sports.
There is the positions that are highly sought after, like the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and all that. It's not that many of them. It's not that deep of a class this year. It's a lot of those positions that we say are quote unquote not the premium positions. It's high level, like it's a lot of tight ends, defensive tackles, heavy D line, heavy on the D line, heavy on the tight ends, heavy on the running backs. Those positions that we don't like speak too highly of is heavy in this draft. So this is one of them drafts when you want to add a little something extra to your team. This is a draft to do it. Crazy on the D line, crazy on the tight ends, crazy on the running backs, but quarterbacks not so much, wide receivers not so much. So it's going to be interesting to dive into the profiles this go round.
Let's keep it NFL. Good.
Well, before you transition, I do hope that the Ravens, if they do find a way to pick a wide receiver, Maryland, Ty Felton, go get him.
Yes. Oh, look at you. Look at you, Raj. There you go, baby.
Hey, I got college football
That's right.
25. I know some of these players now. I know some of these players.
I know, brother. Yeah. Good
He's
stuff.
going to be on the board in the second round. He's a very
interesting
prospect.
Ravens, go get him. He's going to be that. He's going to be one of those guys. If you don't want to go out there and pay for a wide receiver to be the third guy, I guarantee you he's going to be worth being the third guy. But that's
I agree.
Byron. Also, one
more. Or Commanders. Just putting it out there. Just saying. You want to keep them local?
Sure, absolutely. I'm cool with it. But one thing, this happens every year, guys. There is at least one player whose stock is going to explode from the combine. It's always one guy whose stock is going to go through the roof, and he's going to get picked stupid high.
Anthony Richardson.
And it's probably going to be a mistake. It happens every year. Somebody who was not on our radar is probably going to go top 10 this year, and it's going to be a mistake.
Oh, one of these teams is going to overdraft the quarterback. I already know it's going to be Cavante. I already see it now.
It's going to be two.
Raiders, Giants in the mix.
Somebody's going to reach.
Can't because I don't think, like I said, this is not a heavy quarterback draft. This is not a quarterback dominated draft. So I don't think a quarterback is going to go number one overall this year. It maybe, but I don't think so. Not this year.
Let's go NFL real quick. Let's go back real quick. Tush push talking about possibly trying to ban that, and Matthew Stafford's agent given permission to seek his value. Is he going to get traded? They can't be that goofy.
Okay. So I'm cool. Okay, so the Tush push being banned, I understand it. I understand why, and it is unfair because on the offensive side, you're able to push the pocket, but the defensive side, you're not. So if you're not going to make it even, you might as well go ahead and ban it. Matthew Stafford trade. Dre, I think you sent me something talking about he want 50+ mil.
50 mil.
Absolutely not. I hope, is that a rumor? Was that a rumor?
And you know the Giants are going to give it to him, Cavante. I said it in my video. You know them suckers going to give it to him.
So I'm interested to see what they trade.
Just to be third place behind y'all and the Eagles.
I'm interested to see what they're willing to trade for a Matthew Stafford, because if they do that, they don't necessarily have to get a quarterback with their first pick. But what are you willing to give up in the trade? And you're not paying the 50 million, right? You can't be, right?
Somebody is, Cavante. Somebody's
50,
paying.
50?
That's the starting price now, man. We unfortunately,
dog.
You know,
I just think that's goofy. I think it's absolutely goofy. But have y'all heard about Rodgers to LA? That's been a rumor. Yeah, that's been a rumor too, which is why Matthew Stafford trade rumors is a thing as well. So
I mean, you've got I think I said that a couple weeks ago. You got Rodgers possibly to the Rams. You've got Sam Darnold now. I'm hearing possibly to the Rams.
Okay.
You know, there's trade talks. You know, Roger broke it at saying that the Ravens. We'll see what happens with us getting trading for a receiver. They got George Pickens, whether or not he's going to stay or he's going to go. And then Russell. They're talking about Russell to the Raiders. So there's a lot of different scenarios out there.
Is there anybody y'all want to see? This is kind of the list of some of the names. Anybody jump out to you guys? Anybody y'all want to see? I mean, we know Shador's not throwing.
Will Johnson. I want to see Will Johnson. He is a highly rated. He is a highly rated quarterback. Cornerback. From Michigan, and he's ranked really high. Like he's going top 10, possibly top 5, depending on how the board plays out. But cornerback Will Johnson, Michigan. Can't wait to talk about him when we talk about the DBs. If he runs a 4.3 He's
Mm.
He's solidified himself as going top 10.
I want to see Luther Burden from Missouri. He was one of those really high, really high overall players in college football.
Mhm.
So I want to see what he does in the combine. See what he runs, see what his speed is for real. Shador, you said he's not throwing. I don't think he needs to throw. We've seen him throw.
Another Ohio State receiver, Cavante.
They're all over the place, man. And listen,
I wanna-
he may be there. I don't know what we're going to do at 29, but he'll be there. No, it's not. He may be there.
I'm intrigued by two people, and this is from a Ravens perspective. Matthew Golden out of Texas, and where's that brother at? What's his dude name? Michael Williams out of Georgia, safety. So I do want to see those guys, see what they do. Yes.
I hope we don't draft a safety in the first round.
I mean, basically, they're saying he's another Kyle Hamilton. So, do you want two Kyle Hamiltons? Sure.
No, we need pass rush.
I don't know.
You got Kyle back there. We're going to get a pass rush and another receiver, like I said.
Man. So one more, guys. Omarion Hampton, North Carolina. Boy, oh boy. Genty's the guy, like the running back one, but Hampton is good, man. Hampton is good. Like, there may be, believe it or not, guys, because the draft is so weak at positions that we hold in high value, there might be two running backs to go in the first round.
It's funny you said his name and then his highlights appear.
Look at that. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Say his name and he appears.
Get out of there. And then
very deep running back draft. Very deep running back draft. So
so there may be two. There may be two that go in the first round. We know Genty's going top 12. I think Genty's going top 12. Like, I don't see him getting past Dallas at 12. But he's going in the top half of the draft. Hampton, he could go late 1.
Anything else, fellas? We will be live tomorrow when the EDC speaks at 11, and I think Hardball's at 1. So probably two lives tomorrow. You'll see us talk about that. See what they say or don't say.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see you talking about that. That's correct.
Yes. You will see me talk. Yes, you'll hear them, see them, feel me, and see me as well. So,
oh boy,
Cravante, it's time to get goofy because we gotta unpack a lot on this week's episode.
Bro, we doing this right now?
I mean, unless you guys got something else. I mean, it was a little light week.
No, I'll be honest with you. Before you go, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to talk about the senior. With his, with doing things.
What's your nickname?
Unraven like. We've been in the news too much. Okay, we've done a lot of goofy things. This entire month of February. So if Cravante, I know that's one of your goofies. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Oh man, I'm tired, man. It's the one. I'm gonna talk about that. We getting out of here.
Okay.
Let's get goofy, y'all, with Cravante.
Oh, gosh, something wrong here.
Stupid. Just stupid. Well, now that's goofy. Jam. Oh, jam. Man. Welcome, good people, to Goofies of the Week, sponsored by the Flex Zone. Appreciate you guys for giving me a little bit of time to let me tell the good people what I thought was goofy this week. And during Goofies of the Week, we talk about the highs, the lows, the in-betweens of all levels of goofiness, and this week is no different. This particular goofy I thought was fake. Byron, I thought it was fake, man. I thought it was fake. I thought it wasn't real. I was like, that must be a Steve Smith lookalike. The video, which we do not have to play, I will just describe. I mean, unless you want to. Maybe. I
didn't notice what she looked like. That's what I put. This is actually my first time seeing what she looked like. I didn't actually see what she looked. I mean,
So wait, hold on, wait. So somebody said cheated with his wife with Jeff Curry.
So that's her. And this is Mr. Van Gundy.
Okay.
Oh, this might be a better picture though.
Yikes.
Yeah, she definitely. She did it. What 50 Cent saying? Power. What you say, Dre? Where's Dre? Where's Dre? Right, little Raj. What did 50 say?
She did that ish. I mean, yeah.
Whatever they said she did.
I just get the vibe she's with
he did
for the
that
fun
ish.
times. Yeah, she
did it,
likes
yo.
to have fun. She likes to have fun.
Whatever they said he did that.
Man.
So y'all have heard the goofiness. There was a oh gosh.
Hey yo.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Why, bro?
This is too much. This is too much. Because he looks like he's fine there. Like he looks like oh no. Happy holidays from the okay, all right, guys. So Steve Smith, Senior, he's been in the news lately. Oh gosh, Steve Smith and his wife.
Not Derek Jackson.
Oh man, having too much fun.
Okay. Do we have a name for the other guy? So Steve Smith has been in the news for having relations with a woman, and what she worked with the Ravens. Okay, she was she worked for the organization, and we all know Steve Smith played for the organization some time ago.
Okay, take it off. Take it off. Come on, Byron. God damn, man. Take this off, man. Stop. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah,
we need context. We need context. People want to know
damn context, man. We said it. We said it on the whatchamacallit, man.
Right, man.
Okay, so
go ahead,
the husband of the woman put out some text messages that he's seen from Steve Smith and his wife, and he came across some audio of them, talking, communicating, and all that stuff. Saw the text messages, and this brother filmed himself calling Steve Smith saying, I thought this was a joke, bro. I thought this was a joke. I did not think this was true. But he filmed himself calling Steve Smith Sr. and him like, oh, you and Steve Smith, you kind of could tell when somebody answered the phone and they didn't want to answer, because he said, yeah. Like, bro, what's up, bro? And he just jumped out. He got right to it. He said, hey man, yo, y'all me and my wife. And it was quiet. It was quiet for a minute. And then Steve Smith said, well, no, he asked him, you been blah, blah, blah with my wife. What do you have to say for yourself? Steve Smith said, and I quote, I'm sorry.
You want me to play the video? You need me to play the video? You need me to play it?
Is it a video? Or is it are we gonna get in trouble? I don't know how those parameters work.
It's just audio, but you can play the uncensored. No, I'm sorry, you can play the censored version.
I don't know how to say. Well, just go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, about to say I didn't know if it's a censored version out there.
Yeah, there is.
Censored. This ain't music.
Whitlock played it this morning. It's a censored version.
Oh God. Okay. So Steve Smith Sr. said, I'm sorry. And it wasn't enough for that man. It was not enough for that husband. It was not, because he continued to look at this. My heavens, look at him. It was not enough for this man. He wanted, and I'm not sure what more he wanted him to say, but it was quiet on Steve Smith's side for a while before he just hung up. And I just was like, I thought it was a joke, because it didn't make much sense to me. And So I heard Shannon Sharp and Chad on Nightcap Talk, and I even listened to your boy Raj, The Lock. He had a segment. He had a quick segment that he brought on a young lady to talk about, you know what I'm saying, what had happened, and he was talking about his, you know, he talked about his shortcomings as well, like he's not a saint and all that. But however, he had to say too, and I think what's goofy about this whole thing, and it's multiple things, but the one goofy thing about this whole thing is for the man. Why did you videotape yourself doing this? Why did you put text messages out? Because there's really one of two things you can do in this situation. Either you gonna leave or you gonna stay. Not Stephon Diggs, man. Oh, back-to-back weeks. Oh man, yeah, I did talk about him last week, didn't I? My gosh. These members, Stephon Diggs. Well, Stephon Diggs not obligated to anybody, so that's the one difference, I guess. But Steve Smith is. But anyway, because Steve Smith is goofy as well. But I'm just saying, why I feel like you're embarrassing yourself. You're putting yourself in a ridiculously crazy light by filming the conversation you had with Brother Steve Smith Sr. and you put out all the text. Like, what does that do for you? Because I don't care how much you try to put out or embarrass your wife or Steve Smith Sr., you're embarrassing yourself a whole lot as well. And I think that is quite goofy. I saw now, Raj, I saw the tweet that Steve Smith sent out. We can't post that one either. we can't do that one either. But he was shoot, I don't even have it. I don't even have it pulled up. But he was basically saying that, listen, it's not everything is not what it seems. I think he said Don Cheeto. Is that what he said? He said Don Cheeto introduced them or something like that. Blah blah blah.
She said that she was divorced.
She said that she was divorced. So and she did something with his wife too. Listen, listen, Steve Smith. I whatever you got worked out with you and your lady, God dog it. You do your thing. I don't know if she necessarily approved or if she knows. I don't know. Steve Smith is probably totally in the clear for all of this because I don't know their setup in their relationship, but he jacked up this relationship. and for all we know, it probably was already jacked up. You know, things like that don't just pop up, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere. But I thought it was goofy for that man to film himself and trying to put Steve Smith Sr. out there. But you putting him out there also puts you and your wife out there, because at the end of the day, you got the same two options everybody else got when they get into relationships. Either you're going to leave or you're going to stay. In a marriage, you get divorced or you stay. This is all evidence in your divorce that you can prove pretty easily that she's committed adultery and been in her infidelity and all that. Easy to prove. This don't got to be loud. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
That's your boy.
What is that?
That's my man.
That's the
That's your man.
That's my man. That's definitely my man right there. But either you gonna stay and deal with it, however you gonna deal with it, or you got a bunch of evidence to get divorced, and it's a pretty open and shut case, pretty much. Why go through the embarrassment of going to Will Smith's internet? Look at this. Look at him. I hated this picture. I hated this picture.
Of course. Something wrong here.
So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think, you know, when we get into people's morals, I think that's it could get a little touchy, because what you believe in versus what she believe in and all this and that it can be different. I stick to what's goofy, and what's goofy is that you trying to out Steve Smith Jr. Steve Smith Sr. and your wife, pretty much you putting out yourself. So I just thought that was very goofy on his part, because this all could have been done under wraps. It's completely unnecessary and completely goofy, because now you look crazy because you weren't doing what you were supposed to do on your side of the game, and Steve Smith swooped in and did his thing. But that's my why did that picture completely unnecessary. Y'all know my line. There's a thin line between goofy and great, and this man is on the wrong end of it. Got to do better. Got to do better.
Of course. Something wrong here.
There you go, Cavante.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Stupid. Just stupid.
Bro,
Well,
you
now
ain't have
that's
to
goofy. Jam. Oh, jam.
You didn't have to do any of this. You could just kept it to yourself. Deal with your wife. How you gonna deal with your wife? But don't call.
There is one person I want to hear from.
Who that? Stephen A?
No, Jared Judy.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Rod, you're right. Because that was one of my goofies from back in the day too. We talked about it some time ago when that happened. And this would be a perfect time for Judy to pop out. Man, I tell you, karma is an interesting thing, man. But crazy. Yo, Dre, what you think, man?
Be alone for a minute in the confession room. Niggas is wildin'. Be alone.
Jersey Dre, 480 episodes as we kick off God's favorite host birthday month next week.
Man,
episode 480.
Closer and closer to 500 birthday month. Like I said, that's a lot happening in March.
We got the Rock. We got the Rock on Saturday. Real quick, you excited?
Man, that's happening. Something else is happening.
NXT tomorrow with the Hardys. We got a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot happening just alone on Saturday. But like you said, the Hardys coming back. AEW, their pay-per-view is coming up. Like I said, it's just a whole lot coming. But I'm excited. Man, Brother Byron, hopefully you can get out, man, this time for your birthday, man. Well deserved, man.
Hey man, y'all let me know what y'all want to do. I don't know what I don't know what's there. Y'all let me know, Dre. You tell me what the move is. We'll figure something out.
Gotta do something, man. But
I ain't getting on nobody's plane, yo.
Nah.
I told you it's debatable about whether or not that's gonna happen, man. I got life insurance now. I'm good.
It's changed. These things are different now.
Oh man.
Full squirrel suit, man.
Big Rod, social media, got a lot coming up, man.
Yeah, man, got a lot coming up. So stay tuned. Got a lot of content. That's all I gotta say. I'm tired as hell.
Cravante, what's
Hey
up, man?
man. I can't believe March is the end of the week. So pretty much after the combine's over, it'll be time for us to dive into the profiles. And y'all know how that goes. So which is getting that'll be a thing probably within the next maybe 3 weeks or so. 2 to 3 weeks.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. Executive producer and co-founder, Drizzy Dre, senior producer and captain of the Goofy Ship, and the co-founder as well, Cravante Bebe, the commander lawyer on social media, Big Raj, as well as always, doing a thing on YouTube. As mentioned, a lot of content on the channel. We were live for Raw tonight. We're live with episode 479, episode 480 next Monday as well. And tomorrow we'll be live for NXT. We got the Hardy Boys returning to WWE and the debut of Raj's favorite wrestler, Ricky Saints, baby, because they're going marching in, baby. So we got that coming up.
Hey man, be excited for Ricky Saints.
And then we got Wednesday AEW, building towards Revolution. Maryland, Michigan State, big matchup. So we might be doing some 2-for-1.
Tank this weekend as well, man.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about Tank.
I forgot about Tank.
And Roach.
Freddie Roach. Baltimore versus DC, Cravante. DC guy, Mr. Roach. You know, he's not a soup can. I'm not going to disrespect the brother, but he's going to get beat like a drum.
I don't think he got nothing for him, yo. He ain't got nothing for him.
It's a damn shame we didn't even realize the fight was this week. That's what
they don't promote it. That's why they don't promote it like that.
But what network is it on? I don't even know what network it's on.
It's on PBC, so it's on pay-per-view.
So let me tell you how I found out. I was out with Shantae last night, and we went to see Takara at Baltimore.
The Baltimore Comedy Factory.
You do comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot her last name. Thick, good looking.
No, I don't think it's the model though. I think it's a different Takara though. Because I've seen it before.
Yes.
I'm thinking about
different.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no.
Yeah, it's late. It's late. I got you.
But I saw advertising. They was advertising it in the Baltimore Comedy Factory, and I was like, "Damn, Tank fighting tonight. I mean, Tank fighting next weekend. Damn."
That's why I was like, I knew it was something else going on. It's Tank fighting, and then don't forget also CIAA is this week too.
Yeah, so the Elimination Chamber is at 7. Tank is whenever Tank is, probably at 12. So back to back.
Right.
So Elimination Chamber probably over at 11 because with The Rock and all that other stuff. You ready for your soul to be taken, Raj?
My soul will never be taken.
Hey man, he wants your soul, man.
He wants your soul.
Roger already lost it, man.
Yeah, I got to start using.
I said at the last string that my soul has already been taken. Yes, you're right.
Got Elimination Chamber
your man
previews.
Donnie T.
No, well, you thought. Well, never mind. I'm gonna leave this out of this string. So I'm gonna let you have that. You got it, Trey. That's right, Donnie T. Yes.
Yeah, we got Elimination Chamber previews coming. I got to get to work on those. Thursday, I'll be live with the good brother Dylan on his channel, previewing it. So it'll be live here. Friday, we do the thing for SmackDown. Like I said, Maryland, Michigan State, probably Wednesday as well. We had Orioles content. I was live for Orioles games. We do baseball now, ladies and gentlemen. So we got baseball on the channel, more coming, and a bunch of other stuff. I'll be live for Eric DaCosta and John Harbaugh tomorrow. So something every day, and even more coming as we head into March. And when free agency starts, we'll be here as well. We'll be getting those draft previews going, and we'll have some content with the combine as well throughout the week as well. So for Dre, Cravante, Raj, and God's favorite host, Twitter, Instagram, the Flex on One. Throw your ones up, acknowledge us. Once again, big ups to the Joel McNair Foundation and Mr. Marty McNair once again for joining us. Make sure you guys go head over to the McNair Foundation, support the good brother, check out his new book, The Fifth Quarter, and his previous work, Can My Child Play? So one more time, big ups to Mr. McNair. We'll have him back for his next book and more guests coming soon. We're going to work on some guests, got some people in the pipeline. So stay tuned, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. Only place, fellas, giving you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
We're putting the kids to bed. It's Tuesday now. Happy Monday, happy Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow for NXT. Matter of fact, you'll see me tomorrow morning for Combine, Eric DaCosta speaking to the media, and John Harbaugh. They'll talk about the Justin Tucker and all the stuff going on at the Combine. So stay tuned. Flex On Podcast. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.